Tonight, schools testing out safety systems.
Please wear a mask.
As pressure mounts, the nation's second largest teachers union today authorizing its 1.7 million members to strike in districts and states where certain safety standards are not met.
Do I want to get back into school? Absolutely. But we need to be able to do that in a safe environment.
Third largest school district is closed for a second day because of a dispute over COVID-19 safety. City officials in Chicago and the teachers union are at odds over whether it's safe to continue in-person classes as Omicron cases surge in the city. Earlier this week, 73% of teachers voted to stop reporting to work for in-person classes. Instead, they called for a transition to remote learning. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot expressed frustration with the union's decision.
Why are we here again when we know that the safest place for our children is in school? Why are we here again when we know that our schools are safe? We have put over $100 million of resources into our schools over the last 2 years.
Francisco is demanding decisive action from the school district to handle the threat of the Omicron variant, with hundreds of teachers not showing up for class. As KTVU's Christian Cafton tells us, there is a looming threat now that teachers may walk off the job over this issue.
New York City, it's a hurdle on the road to reopening schools. The teachers union is now demanding COVID testing for everyone who enters a school building before in-person classes can resume. And they're threatening legal action if the demand isn't met. CBS 2's political reporter Marcia Kramer has the story.
UFT President Michael Mulgrew gave Mayor de Blasio and Schools Chancellor Richard Carranza an ultimatum: test every student, teacher, principal, and staff member who enters a school building, or we go to court.
This city went through hell and came back, and we are not going back to hell because of short-sighted political agendas.
And to show his determination to go toe-to-toe with the mayor, Mulgrew had a press conference with public officials, community activists, parents, and 3 doctors who talked about the need for testing as a baseline to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Today, Chicago public schools could be empty. Teachers are still working with the city to work out a last-minute deal before they strike. CBS 2's Mugo Adigwe is live in the newsroom to explain the holdup. What's the latest, Mugo?
Education Secretary Betsy DeVos and President Trump, they want schools to open full-time this fall amid the pandemic. Stetson Miller sharing mixed reaction tonight from leaders and from parents. Hey, Stetson.
Hey, Nicole, yeah, there are some mixed opinions on the Secretary and the President's statements on a full return to school, with some saying it's time to get back in the classroom, while others are not sure that that's a safe decision.
We really feel that what the President of the United States and the Secretary DeVos shared the other day is a lot of rhetoric, and it's really irresponsible to say we're just going to blanketly open schools.
Maryland State Education Association President Cheryl Bost criticizing President Trump and Education Secretary Betsy DeVos's calls to fully return students to class this fall. She says the generalized statements are not right for the state's teachers and students, and says there are a lot of factors to consider when making these decisions.
Tonight, schools testing out safety systems.
Please wear a mask.
As pressure mounts, the nation's second largest teachers union today authorizing its 1.7 million members to strike in districts and states where certain safety standards are not met.
Do I want to get back into school? Absolutely. But we need to be able to do that in a safe environment.
LAUSD's teachers union doubling down on its 3 safety demands before any of its teachers will return to the classroom. That, as we know this late hour, the outcome of the vote. The teachers the last 5 days have been voting. Here's the results. Listen to the union president.
UTLA members have voted overwhelmingly to resist a premature and unsafe physical return to school sites.
Members of UTLA, the powerful LAUSD teachers union, speaking out through their votes, strongly backing their safety demands for a return to the classroom. Check it. Of the more than 24,500 votes cast, 91.
Are we alone?
Yeah.
If you're going to call me out, I'm going to you up.
The unfiltered conversation caught on camera Wednesday night among the Board of Trustees with the Oakley Union Elementary School District.
They don't know what we do behind the scenes, and it's really unfortunate that they want to pick on us because they want their babysitters back. Right.
One moment got big laughs after a member spoke about parents using marijuana.
My brother had a delivery service for medical marijuana. The high clientele were parents with their kids in school.
The candid discussion that lasted several minutes abruptly cuts off when they realize they had an audience.
Oh, we have the meeting open to the public right now.
Someone not only tuned in, but recorded the meeting and uploaded it to YouTube. The board president, Lisa Brizendine, can be heard apologizing at the end of the meeting.
We were having a private conversation because we were really struggling at that moment with all of the board comments that were coming in because we want what's best for kids so badly.
Outraged parents quickly fired back.
If it's just one day, if they think that's necessary for safety overall, I think go ahead. I feel like going back to virtual learning wouldn't be ideal right now.
Parents are pivoting again as some school districts are delaying the return to school from holiday break until Tuesday. The move comes as COVID rapid tests slated for schools are just showing up now.
From the beginning, this thing has been mismanaged.
But the Massachusetts Teachers Association is calling on the state to shut all schools down on Monday so that teachers, staff, and students have time to test and act on results.
We close our schools because of the danger posed by weather. This is a different kind of danger and equally important to close schools for.
But state education officials today say the commissioner will not close school Monday. A statement.
Tomorrow, thousands of students in Brookline will stay home as the town cancels school in the face of a likely teacher strike. The teachers say they'll be at school outside on the picket line. Good evening to you. I'm Ken McLeod. Despite a long bargaining session this weekend, WBZ's Brandon Truitt says teachers and the Brookline School Committee could not agree on a contract.
The rallying started Saturday morning and ran well into the night. Hundreds of teachers gathering at Town Hall. The two groups meeting behind closed doors until 4 a.m. Sunday. Then again this afternoon, the Brookline Teachers Union and school committee here can't reach an agreement.
We have had it.
So now the teachers will strike. Jessica Winter-Shubo is the president of the Brookline Teachers Union and says they have been working for days to avoid this but feel they have no other choice.
When people can't get a hearing and they're working people and they're told no, 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 and they have, deep need for something to be addressed, this is the only option they have, is to strike.
For their part, the school committee says they're offering the teachers a 6% raise over the next 3 years. But the union is asking for things like guaranteed daily duty-free prep time, guaranteed time for weekly collaboration, and a solid action plan for attracting and retaining teachers of color. Superintendent Linus
Across the country,
I definitely feel very stressed.
I've never felt so much stress in one school year.
I didn't want to get out of my bed today. I really didn't.
Kids under pressure, pushed by the pandemic. Today, the Surgeon General issuing a rare public health advisory, warning of a youth mental health crisis.
Our kids have been struggling for a while, and we can no longer wait to address youth mental health in our country.
According to the report, symptoms of anxiety and depression have doubled during the pandemic. More than 140,000 children in the U.S. lost a parent or grandparent caregiver to COVID. And emergency room visits for suicide attempts were up 51% for adolescent girls compared to 2019.
There is an article that just came out, Literature Review and Meta-Analysis on the Effects of Lockdowns on COVID-19 Mortality, Studies in Applied Economics, coming out of Johns Hopkins. Prestigious institution, prestigious, well-accomplished authors, and doing a meta-analysis of, I think, 16 different studies. In fairness, it's not peer-reviewed, but it's pretty good. Now, a couple things. They spoke about non-pharmaceutical interventions. And one thing they say, they use it to describe any government mandate which directly restrict people's possibilities, not including information campaigns, mass testing, social distancing, but including closing schools or businesses, mandated face masks, etc. So pretty broad. Now, they found no statistical correlation. Let me read the second paragraph of their. With this meta-analysis concludes that lockdowns have had little to no public health effects. They have imposed enormous economic and social costs where they have been adopted. In consequence, lockdown policies are ill-founded and should be rejected as a pandemic policy instrument. Now, we speak of science guiding what we do. Clearly, we've seen that children have suffered, both in terms of learning loss and the lack of a detection of their possible mental health issues, physical health issues, etc. I think I know that you've opposed school shutdowns. Is that a fair statement? And what do you think in general of what these economists out of Johns Hopkins suggest, that what government has done, well-intentioned and without having facts, but in turn, as it turns out, worsened the situation, particularly for child mental health, as opposed to improving? And by the way, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit this for the record.
Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, who is running for mayor himself, were critical of the mayor's decision to close schools when the citywide infection rate reached 3% because the infection rate is so much lower in the schools, 0.28% according to the borough president. His pitch was downright scary, saying if kids lack an education, they often turn to crime.
80% of the men and women on Rikers Island don't have a high school diploma or equivalency. That means if you don't educate, you incarcerate.